On June 7th, San Diego voters cast ballots in what is referred to as the primary elections. And it's true, they were primaries for state and federal office. But for the city of San Diego, the word primary is a bit misleading. That's because the city's election rules allow candidates to win outright in June if they get more than 50% of the vote. Mayor Kevin Faulconer won 57% of the vote in June, which is why his name won't appear on ballots next month. The mayor's race is settled.
We are here today to talk about measures K and L on the November ballot.
City Council President Sherry Leitner supports changing the election rules to force November runoffs between all of the top two vote-getters in June, regardless of how many votes they get. That's Measure K. Measure L would require most referenda and citizens' initiatives to be voted on in November, not in June. Leitner says the routinely higher voter turnout in November will translate to a more responsive City Hall.
Special interests and political insiders attempt to exert more influence during the primary when decisions can be made by just a small fraction of registered voters. Voting yes on K and L will make sure that the most important decisions in our city are made when the greatest number of voters vote. That's why I am strongly supporting these measures. Don't you say? How about you guys?
Historically, turnout in November has been much higher than in June, sometimes more than double. City Councilman Todd Gloria says measures K and L are about improving democracy.
But I think the people are saying very clearly that we want the elections to be more democratic, to have more folks at the table, to make sure the decision making is made by more San Diegans, and that we align that this process is so good that the state and the federal government already do it that way, right?
Yeah. Measures K and L are supported by the County Democratic Party and a number of labor unions. And it's noteworthy that Democrats have typically fared better in November elections than in June. Both measures are opposed by the County Republican Party, the Chamber of Commerce, and other conservative groups.
Folks should vote against Measure K because this has been a rushed process.
City Councilman Chris Cate is leading the opposition to measures K and L. He acknowledges these measures got placed on the ballot fair and square by a majority vote of the City Council. But he says when it comes to something as fundamental as city elections, these ideas needed more discussion.
I think the fear that I have is confusing voters, telling them when they're able to vote on something and when they're not able to vote on something. And also, if this is the case, we're going to be changing our electoral process constantly. I think there's issues with that, especially when you're not doing it in a very open and constructive manner with voters who are the ones being affected.
Cate says he's not opposed to reforming San Diego election laws to give more power to November elections. A better way to do that, he said, could be ranked choice voting, which is already used in some California cities. Under ranked choice, there's no need for a June primary. Instead, voters can rank their candidates by preference on one ballot, first, second, third, etc. If one candidate gets more than 50% of the first choice votes, that candidate wins. If not, the city starts counting second and third choice votes until one candidate gets a majority.
If this is not the best and final process, we should have had a discussion about how to get there and not have this costly measure put on the ballot.
Why should just a few voters and special interests make decisions that affect us all?
The official Yes on K and L campaign has raised more than $400,000 so far and is already spending it on polls, consulting, and internet and TV ads. The No campaign has raised about half of that. With a month left before the elections and with more than 24 state and local ballot measures competing for attention, the time to win votes is running out. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.